Hey kiddos, this is Mrs. Quick. Today we're going to do a lesson on pixel art. It's fairly simple to work with, so I'm just going to show you each step. First thing you're going to do is go to Photoshop and ignore this because it's another assignment I was playing with. You're going to go to File, New, up in the upper left hand corner, and then from here you're going to name your file name your first name, last name, pixel art. Right here you can see that the width and height are set to pixels to determine the size. I want this to say pixels. If you click on it, there are a variety of other measurement types that you can use, but for this assignment we're going to specifically use pixels, and it's very important because otherwise it's going to completely set up your canvas wrong. So for this, we have the width, and you're going to set the width to 50, the height to 50, and the resolution at 72. Go ahead and just kind of don't utilize any of this stuff within here, and just make sure it's 50 pixels by 50 pixels with a resolution of 72. In the lower right-hand corner of this panel, it says Create, so go ahead and create this canvas. As you can see, it's super tiny. We're going to go ahead and click on our zoom tool here. If you click on it, notice the cursor has a plus sign directly in it. Every time I left click on my mouse, it will zoom into that canvas, and I'm just selectively left clicking. If I hold down Alt on my keyboard, notice how my cursor turns to a minus sign. That allows me to zoom out in case I want to zoom out for whatever reason. The next thing we're going to do is set a grid inside Illustrator so we can see our pixels to directly color on them. We are going to set the parameters of the grid before we actually can view the grid, so I'm going to show you how to do both of those things. First thing, you're going to hit Edit, down to Preferences, down to Guides, Grid, and Slices here. In the grid area, you can see mine's already set to 6 inches, which is not what I want at all. You're going to set a grid line to every 1, and just like we had set in our initial document, we're going to make this 1 pixel with a subdivision of 1. Okay? And you can kind of already see my grid in the background here. 1 pixel, subdivision of 1. Press OK. Your grid may or may not be visible by default on your canvas, depending on what it was set before. So if your grid is not visible on your canvas, you can go ahead and make it visible by going to View, down to Show, and then selecting Grid, and it will show that grid. The next thing we're going to do is select our pencil tool. So our pencil tool is underneath the brush tool, just like we said before. This tiny, tiny little arrow in the lower left-hand corner of the tool means that you can expand the panel. And the way that you do this is hold down your left click, and notice I have the pencil tool as the second option here. I can select the pencil tool. Make sure at the top you have the size down to 1 pixel, and just move this little bar all the way to the left so it says 1 pixel. If you have more than that, it's going to make this project kind of difficult. Okay? So from here, we can go ahead and just start coloring. Notice my foreground color right now is set to this kind of almost turquoisey blue color. We want to be able to manipulate the colors to our preferences. So the way that we do that is just by going to Window and going down to Swatches and selecting Swatches. What this does is create a predetermined swatches panel that you can use to select colors. They have a variety of colors in here, and there are ways to edit it and add more, but we're not going to get into that today. Notice when I hover over it, it creates an eyedropper looking tool for my cursor. Basically what that is it's selecting the color that's beneath the cursor. And if you notice, every time I select a new color, my foreground color in the lower left-hand side of my tools panel selects that color with me. So, la 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 la. Beautiful piece of art. What I also recommend doing is going to Google, and you can search pixel art and a topic that you like. So I like pixel art Star Wars, and let's see what it brings up. Some of these are pretty detailed, but you can utilize this for inspiration, just to practice within the program, so you can have something a little bit more interesting and intricate to create. You could also click on this little button right here, which is will minimize it, and on your screen you can click on the same button in Photoshop. If you go to the side of the program, you can shrink this a little bit and make it larger where you want. I'm sure there's a shortcut how to do this better, but I don't remember it right now. And if you go to your zoom tool, you can zoom out and make your pixel art based on what you like over here. So that concludes my lesson on pixel art. If you have any questions, feel free to check out the video again or certain areas of the video, or come ask me and I'm happy to help. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of your day.